in hindsight, this might not work. Is that better? That feels a little better. I feel like I'm looking up too much. I'm gonna turn this whole thing around. Okay. That feels so much better. I'm a genius. I was getting a little bit stressed out about what to make a video about next, because I was like, I need to make this big. This needs to wow. This needs to wow the people. All 8 billion people on the earth are looking to me now, waiting to hear what I have to say next. What is my next move? I actually have lost everything I have ever wanted to say, everything I've ever wanted to talk about. Suddenly, I have no thoughts, and I actually don't have anything else to share. Do you feel like you are an independent person? I have called myself independent from probably the second I could speak. I think that might have been my first word, actually. It's so attached to who I see myself to be that when something challenges it, I feel very defensive. I spent this weekend by myself, which is the first weekend I've had in a really long time to myself, and it was really, really nice. I've always been very aware of the fact that I like to be by myself, and I was thinking about that a lot this weekend. I have found myself surrounded by more people than I've ever been surrounded by since I moved to California, and it's been very new for me and very overwhelming, honestly. Having a lot of people to keep up with is not something I've ever had to do. I was always the friend that would respond the second you texted and was always available to talk and always available to hang out because I had a handful of people I was actually keeping up with. And I remember I used to get very annoyed at my friends who weren't like me, who had a million friends that they were always keeping in touch with. And I couldn't fathom not spending a couple minutes, seconds even, to respond to a text. And now that I'm in LA and I have so many people in my life, I don't respond to texts as quickly anymore. I have a lot less weekends to myself and a lot less evenings to myself. I'm in a relationship for the first time in a really long time, and it's all very unfamiliar to me, having so many people around, and I've always prided myself in being comfortable going to a restaurant alone or to a movie alone or spending the weekends not doing anything, being with myself and my thoughts. And it makes me feel like I'm no longer staying true to the title of independence that I've attached to myself, which is silly because I think it's almost the label of independence I think I have held on to for so long. I was different. I was outcasted. I was weird and quiet and mysterious, and I liked to be by myself, and I'm not so much like that anymore. The times when I was the most alone and truly had nobody, not even just not a friend in sight, I craved friendship so bad and I craved community so bad. And I think that because I wanted it and I couldn't have it / didn't have it, I convinced myself that my independence was something that I wanted, and so it wasn't actually a problem that I was alone, because I chose to be alone. It wasn't a problem that I didn't have any friends, because I didn't like anybody anyways. I think I retroactively fall back into that mindset, even though I can't really because of my situation and because of my circumstances. Like, I'm contradicting myself a lot, but I will have bouts of voices
in the sense that
telling me to just drop everyone I know and to distance myself from people. I'll convince myself that if someone has done something to me that I don't like, or made me feel upset for some reason, then it's just a reminder of how I actually never really liked them, and I don't really like anybody, and it's time for me to start separating myself. Like I know I deep down truly desire, and it's not true. I think it's a coping mechanism, really, and I think it's, pretty sad, because it's coming from a place of a girl who was just really scared and very alone. I don't know, maybe all of that is wrong, and maybe I'm actually just an introvert and I actually don't really like being around people. I don't know what it is. I remember my friends used to get really mad at me for this, but I moved around a lot when I was younger, from like middle school to the end, till I graduated high school, really. I moved around so much, and I remember kind of getting into this rhythm where I would leave and me and my friends would be like, I'm gonna miss you so much, let's keep in touch, let's talk all the time. And then we wouldn't, which obviously is a two-way street. I had just as much power to keep in touch with them as they did with me, but I would kind of just sum it all up to, it's inevitable that we are actually never going to speak to each other again. I would move, make some really great friends, and then inevitably have to move again, and I would tell them, we're never going to talk to each other again. You can't get mad, it's just the truth. I don't make the rules. I would say it very matter-of-factly too. Again, it feels very coping mechanism-y, where I'm stating the sort of emotionless fact, we will never talk again, and sort of separating it from myself in a way where I cannot be hurt. I feign vulnerability all the time, and I think a lot of people feel very close to me because of it, but I realized semi-recently, I mean, I kind of knew this, but I thought in my head, I'm not vulnerable to the people I'm not close to, and I'm only close to like a very small group of people. So I am very vulnerable, but to these people that I'm like friends with, we're really good friends, we hang out all the time, they tell me a lot of, vulnerable things, but I don't, because to me, they're not my best of best friends. So I actually don't need to share anything with them. I would justify it in my head, but I'm actually not vulnerable at all. I have a very hard time sharing things about myself, sharing just how I'm feeling on any given day, even if it's not directly related to the person I'm talking to. Like, obviously, things like confrontation are hard, but like, my stomach is making the craziest sounds. It's actually annoying me. Do you hear it? This is insane. Confrontation is something that's obviously very difficult, but even when I wasn't confronting someone, if I had a really hard day and I knew I needed to talk to somebody about it, I just wouldn't, because it's hard for me to tell someone, I am struggling right now, I'm having a hard time, and it's only really negatively affecting me. It's never going to affect the person I don't tell, and it'll affect our relationship, because I'm never going to get to that level of closeness that I so deeply desire, but only hold for the people I am tippity top of the list closest to. But how do you get people up there if you're like gatekeeping information about yourself? It just doesn't make sense. This idea of independence and, not being like the other girls, and wanting to, I guess, seclude yourself, is just not the same thing as being comfortable by yourself. It's not. I don't really have a conclusion for this. I'm just kind of rambling. And it probably hasn't been very succinct, but yeah, just something I was thinking about. I know I want community, but I have a hard time taking the steps to get there. And it's something I'm working on. People really do annoy me all the time, though. Do you hear the kids? That's something I have to really work on. People annoy me all the time. I guess I'm just stopping by to say hello. I'm curious about if, one, this made sense, and two, if anybody could relate to what I'm saying about the idea of independence and how it's different from actually just secluding yourself and not being a very open person. Anyways, thank you for watching. I know this is short. Again, I have better stuff coming. I have more stuff coming. Thank you so much for being so nice to me in my last video. I actually don't understand it. People who are saying that I've inspired them. Okay, I'm glad. I have absolutely no clue how. I don't really understand it, but I'm grateful. That's all I've ever wanted, is to find people who I can relate to. So it means the world to me, even though I don't fully understand it. And I don't need to. Thank you a million times. Thank you. Do you like my mic? Oh, it's a shoe? Idiot. You wouldn't know. But this is actually a $3,000 Sony X20 microphone. It's not really released yet. Nobody's ever heard about it. Yes, I did get exclusive access to it because of my contacts. I'm famous, I'm well known, everybody loves me, and they did give this to me to try out. As you can hear, it sounds great. I'm perfectly clear. My voice sounds like butter coming through this, and maybe one day you'll be able to experience the joys of using this microphone like I have. Bye.
Your honey water, wine, you